Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name's David Austin, and sitting across from me, as always, in this kind of romper-looking outfit, my beautiful blushing bride, Londa Joanne Sherwood Austin. And I got to tell you, I'm super excited about this week's program.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. That's what this romper reminds me of.
I think that's
Carol
awesome.
Baskin.
You and Carol, who we saw once at a bar in Tampa, and I think she thought I was cute. I do. I think she was
catch your eye.
I think she was definitely working it, and it was very, very fun. That goddamn Carol Baskin.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not my. That's a quote.
Blue.
That's a quote. That's not my thing. Anyway, The Session with Londa and David is a program that focuses on business and sales, actually. And as we've said on several programs, every single person in some facet or another is in sales.
Challenge me. Anyone out there who thinks they're not in sales, tell me you're not in sales and I'll show you how you are.
That's exactly right. People are in sales, and if you're not good at sales, well, then you're probably not great at what you do.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Unless, of course, you're working with no people and you're working with some kind of technology, maybe an app. You don't need to have those people skills, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that's a thing. I think everybody needs those skills.
I absolutely agree, because even if you work behind a computer doing data entry, if you interact with any other humans ever, whether it's at your job or at home or when you go out, it's all sales, because it's all relationship. That's exactly right.
Relationships are everything. And people who say, I don't like people, I'm not a relational seller, well, then they're not a seller, because you have to be.
Yeah. I was just talking with someone earlier today who was asking me, hey, is your podcast just about real estate and that industry, or is it for any sales? Because I really love podcasts and I'm trying to grow my business. And I said, so let me be clear. It is for anyone in customer service.
That's exactly right.
In sales, in business. Even, I would even say, we share a lot of really good content that's applicable in interpersonal relationships and families as well.
I absolutely agree with that. And speaking of that, The Session with Londa and David is brought to you each week by Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants. If you're looking to grow your income and your success, Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants can help you find your sweet spot. Whether you're hoping to increase sales, grow your team, or just get your bottom line back in shape, Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants can help. You owe it to yourself to call Londa today at 509-491-2663. Okay, that number again, 509-491-2663. You can text her, you can email her, Londa at sherwoodaustin.com. That's the way to do it. You know, it's a great time to be in business. Why not be in business with us?
I like it.
There you go. That's our front end billboard. Now it's out of the way, and I
love it every time you say it. Every time you say it, it gets me excited all over again. I think, yeah, you know what? You're right. They should be in business with us.
I don't know many people who know us who aren't already in some way in business with us.
That's true. We need to get to know more people then.
There you go. Get to know more people.
Absolutely.
All right. I like it. Okay. Here's why I'm excited about this show.
Okay. Hit me with it.
This week, we are at our Louisiana home, the Austin compound in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. And on Saturday, we went into Lafayette, which is my hometown where I grew up, and went to the farmers market. Now, we've done programs about the Lakeland, Florida farmers market and how great it is and how we loved all the vendors and, you know, we made a bunch of friends. We pull into this farmers market that I haven't ever been to ever in my life. We took 15 steps out of the car and I saw two lifelong friends of mine that I hadn't seen in over 20 years.
Yep.
Two, back to back. Boom, boom. What a fun treat.
Yeah, loved it. We stood and talked with them for quite some time, actually.
Yep.
And then one of them again later.
That's right.
We ran into them again.
My buddy Tim Boudreau, who is a longtime educator and a trombone player like me. I was so thrilled to see Tim. What a treat that was.
I'm really excited to get together with Tim and Dex because one reason.
Let me stop you there. Dex is Tim's girlfriend. Her full name is the coolest name I've ever heard. It's Dextria.
Yeah.
And they are... And I'm not exaggerating,
Honey.
the fittest people you will ever meet. They are super fit.
Yeah.
I did burpees right there talking to them because I felt really bad.
I'm excited to talk to them more, as a couple, just to get to know them more. We had really powerful conversation just standing at the farmer's market. So I'm looking forward to more. But also, I was just talking with our youngest child, David Michael. I was talking with him earlier today, and he's working on a project for school. And he's got to write an essay and interview some people and different things. And he chose to write about the effects of the pandemic on the education of children in public school.
Well, that's very interesting.
And so I want to
and there's
got to
be a
about that.
boatload of research available.
Man, the stuff, what he has written so far, he read it to me. And I said, man, this makes me emotional and makes me want to know more. Super proud of that kid.
That's exciting. Yeah. And I can't wait to talk about that. But before we get too far afield, I just want to talk a little bit about the success of the farmers market in Lafayette.
Do it.
I have news for you. If you are working a booth at any kind of fair, carnival, farmer's market, you need to engage the people who walk by your booth.
Absolutely.
I got news for you. A lot of the people we ran into at the Lafayette Farmers Market were great at that.
Yeah, including our new friend from Sage's Sea Moss.
That's exactly right. I was going to say the girl from Sage's Sea Moss was probably the best salesperson I've been in front of in a long time. And she said, yeah, I used to be in sales. You're manning your booth for your own business. You're full on in sales. And she'll
figure it out. We got her connected to the podcast.
That's exactly right.
And, because when I go to those things, I get, when I feel a connection with somebody, I just pull my phone out and have them either give me their contact information and here's how I do it for those of you who are bold enough to give it a try. I just pull up my contacts and hit the plus and then spin it around and hand it to them.
Right.
And
they just fill it in automatically. Just fill it in. Or I'll ask, like for her, I'll say, hey, which social media platform are you most active on? Right.
And she said Instagram. And so I pulled up Instagram to the search and then flipped it around and she put herself in and clicked follow. And so it's easy to get contact information. People who say it's hard, you just have to be a little creative. You just have to think outside the box.
Right. People who think it's hard have call reluctance, and it's as though they're making a phone call. They're uncomfortable asking for the business.
Well, they've got some sort of roadblock, and maybe they just didn't think of, it's just that easy as, let me open up my Instagram and hit the search bar and let you put in your,
So. It's just like the stylists in the salon. The first time we went in to train the stylists at our salon, the Bloom Room in Kennewick, Washington, they were confused about how to get contact information from the people sitting in their chair.
Right. And I was too, and before someone taught me. Right.
That's exactly, and you take that for granted.
Right.
I don't think when you go to cosmetology school, they teach you how to close for the next appointment. I don't think that's a class. I don't know either. I'll ask Andrea. But I don't think that's a class because they looked as confused and scared during our very first training, and then it became old hat because we talk about it over and over and over and over again. There's no time that somebody's going to be as excited as they are the first time they're at the point of sale with you.
That's right.
No time ever.
As a side note, I now have a jar of sea moss in my refrigerator.
I got to tell you, it is the weirdest consistency Jell-O type product ever, but you know what? The health benefits are undeniable.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm excited.
I thought maybe there was gelatin in it, but there's not. I looked, the ingredients are sea moss and mineral water. And anyway, we don't need to get in all that. But
it's really cool, though.
The
It's
Lafayette
really cool.
Farmers Market every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to noon in Moncus Park is legit. So much fun. And if you come, you might find us there.
Yeah. And
I told you I'll never go to the grocery store again because they've got all the, and I quote, hippie shit that I love.
all the organic.
Oh, yeah. It's all the grass-fed, grass-finished meat. It's all
Right.
the only thing I didn't see was pastured eggs. But, maybe we were just too late in the day.
Further, how many hydroponic gardens are there in Lafayette, Louisiana? Because there were at least 3 booths doing that.
Yeah, there were a couple of booths there.
That's
so that
pretty
was
cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then there was some interesting food there that I wanted to try, but we ended up leaving. You didn't want to.
You said,
Try
are there
it.
any foodways that you saw that you want to get down on? And the answer
That is
was,
what I said.
And the answer was no. I didn't see anything that made me go, yes.
Yeah. Next time, though, I want to
For sure.
sample
and
my
what,
way through.
And what we need to do is go a little earlier so
Yeah.
we're not at a weird transitional time.
Yeah. And there were like 3 different coffee places. So
Yeah.
I was really excited about that. And yeah, it was great.
And
I had fun.
it was not like that ridiculous boat company in Lakeland, Florida, that we would have rented one of their boats had they engaged us at that booth. Do you remember that?
You got to let that go.
Well, these people at every booth were super excited to see us and talk to us. It wasn't like we were being barked at by carnival barkers. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was people genuinely interested. And that, to me, is the secret sauce of the whole Lafayette community,
Well,
the
I'm
whole
walking by.
Acadiana.
Okay, so here's what happened with Sage's Sea Moss, right? I'm walking by the booth, and they were in kind of an odd location. They were a little bit off to the side,
Kind of away.
yeah. And I looked at the sign, and then I looked back and said, "Oh, sea moss." And then I turned around, and she said, "Would you like to learn a few things about the benefits of sea moss?" And I was like,
Yep.
"Yep." I sure would.
And it's, there's no person who's more interested in
Stupid stuff like that.
no hippy dippy health, alternative medicine kind of stuff than you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the Lord placed her there for you. That's what it was like, because talk about the perfect customer for Sage's Sea Moss.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
there you go.
And all that stuff. And the only thing that was missing was someone selling crystals or,
Well, I bet there was somebody doing that. We
I don't
just
know.
didn't see him. We didn't slow down enough at that booth.
That could be. I don't know.
It was a lovely time, and I wanted to talk about it, not only because it was a really well put together outdoor farmers market, but it was friendly and accessible,
Right.
and everybody there was interested in everybody else there.
So I would agree with that. One thing I would say to the vendors is definitely have a way of capturing people's information.
Yes.
They've got to capture data.
Right.
If you're not capturing data, you're kind of wasting your time. And you can do it old school. You could have, and somebody did, pen and paper.
A sign-in sheet.
Writing down emails. If you wanted more information about their thing, you wrote down your email.
Yes, there was a booth that had grass-finished beef, and Londa walked up to the lady and
So
said,
excited.
"Do you have something I can sign up for to be on your email list?" The lady didn't offer that to us. Londa went looking for it, and sure enough, yes, absolutely, here you go.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
And then we chatted with her for a few minutes.
Right.
And yeah, so you've got to capture data, have a system for it. It can be high tech.
Right.
It can be low tech. The good news about being at a farmer's market is if it is very low tech, nobody is bothered by it because they're at a farmer's market. They
Sure.
almost expect it to be a little bit more low tech.
Right.
But there was one company that had a QR code.
Yes.
And the only reason I put my phone up to it is because I wanted to see if it was something designed to capture my data in any way.
Was
like
it?
sign up for this, sign up for that. It wasn't. So I was a little disappointed in that.
I think if you do like a Square transaction with one of those vendors, they have your name and phone number now.
They've got your email for sure.
Yeah.
Because you get the receipt.
I think
via email.
I think that may be the way they're doing it. But again, how many people that do these fairs and carnivals and farmers markets are actually following up with the leads that come by the booth? I wonder that because, even realtors sitting in open houses often do not follow up with the people that come to the open house.
Right.
And for years, I worked with a builder partner, Les Savage with Oasis Custom Homes. And, we would go to the Monday morning sales meeting, and inevitably there'd always be one realtor who was like, yeah, nobody wanted to sign in. I don't understand that.
Right.
Nobody goes into an open house that doesn't have some kind of housing problem. No one. It's not a recreational sport.
Well, and honestly, I don't know if realtors know you don't have to let people into your open house.
Tell me more about that.
You're not required to let anyone in.
Okay.
You can refuse entry to someone.
I wonder if anybody's ever done that.
I have.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
It was the end of my open house. I was alone at the open house because there had been quite a group that had come through, several groups. But at this moment, I was alone in the house.
Okay.
And I'm standing at the kitchen window. I could see the front of the house. And this car rolled up, and it was beat up clunker kind of car, which, I don't judge anybody. I often say, don't judge a person's financial situation. You don't know. Assume everyone has the money for your product until they tell you they don't.
Was it a van with no windows that said free candy on the side? No, but
listen, as I watched, it looked like this individual was living in their car.
Okay.
There's a look to
well,
living
then
in
they
your
need
car.
to buy a house.
And, it was one of those moments where like the hair on the back of my neck stood up.
Yes.
And I felt immediately uncomfortable. And, you have to trust your gut.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
And so I just locked the front door. I locked all the doors and didn't let them in and just ignored him until he went away. And It didn't take very long.
Okay.
But I didn't feel safe.
Well, and you have taken a lot of training as a realtor, a female realtor, about personal safety. And they always say in those classes, trust your gut. If something feels off, it's off.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
I get that. But, you can't say to somebody because they don't want to sign your sign-in sheet, get out of here, buddy.
You absolutely can. Would I do it? No. Would I recommend it? Probably not. But you absolutely can. And I do know at least one or two realtors who, if you don't sign in, you do not get into the house. And it is perfectly okay for you to do that. It's a style of holding open houses.
Well, and I think there's a much softer touch version of that where you offer someone the opportunity to fill out a survey about what they think of the house. Give us your feedback because we want to know, and you give them the clipboard and off they go.
Yeah, and you send them through the house with the clipboard, and they make notes giving you information about what they think. Just like you do. I did that at Brokers Opens.
And when people do that, they then want to be debriefed at the end.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start a casual, non-aggressive, safe conversation.
Here's 2 ways to open that conversation.
Okay.
Hey, I really need your help. Or, gosh, could I get your opinion?
Right.
I really need your help. I need some feedback on this house. And one house that I was pushing for feedback on, I had a really stubborn seller who wasn't listening to me about the problems with the house. And I knew if I could get people in and I could get their feedback and I could show the seller, not my words, but here's all the little feedback forms with their words on them saying exactly what I've been telling you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like you got to paint those mustard walls because that's a very small group of people that want mustard walls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so so that's easy. I did need their help.
Right.
And it's easy to get feedback when you ask for people's opinion or you ask for their help.
Sure. And another thing that realtors have said to me over the years, over and over, and it makes me crazy, is you can't sell the house at an open house. And I personally have been at open houses with agents who have sold the house at the open house. So you absolutely can.
Yes, it's a small
Absolutely
percentage.
can.
The statistic nationally is pretty small. But what I always tell agents is, well, you have a 0% chance of selling it if you're not there.
If you go into it believing there's no chance you're going to sell the house, there is no chance that you're going to sell the house.
If somebody gets their eyes on it, or if you make a social media post while you're there and they get their eyes on the post, any eyes on the property, whether in person or virtually, is an opportunity to sell the damn house.
That's exactly right.
You know?
That's exactly right.
So have a system for collecting information, getting feedback, have a system for holding your open houses, and have a system for if nobody shows up to your open house, for going virtual, so you at least get virtual eyes on it.
Right.
And then next time have a better system for marketing it prior to the open house.
Sure.
So that you never have that happen again.
And exciting, because all across the nation, house values have gone up dramatically over the past year. I think I saw something that said 11.9% is the national average, something close to that, for appreciation over the last year. And it's because there's a shortage of inventory. And there are several factors that play into the shortage of inventory. For instance, in the Tri-Cities in Washington, in the Tri-Cities market, they all went to stricter building codes about 5 or 6 years ago. So all of the houses built in the Tri-Cities now by code are Energy Star efficient. Right. They don't have to be Energy Star certified, but the building codes brought everybody up to that minimum standard. So those houses are not move out as quickly houses. You know,
Gotcha.
You buy a starter house, if it's got drafty windows, if it's, you know, a lesser constructed home, you may be gone in 2 to 5 years.
Although I will say statistically, we're seeing the average time spent in a home has come down quite a bit. It used to be, you know, if you were farming a community, which is just marketing to, like I say, a particular subdivision, because you want, you know, to list homes in that subdivision. So if you're farming that, you could get, from like the title company, you could get a list of homes where the seller has owned it for 7 years or more.
Right.
When I started real estate, that was the magic number.
Okay.
7 years or more, because they get the 7-year itch, right? Well, now if they've had it 2 years or more,
well, and I think that
they may be looking to.
We've seen a lot of changes since COVID happened.
Sure.
A lot of people that had to be forced into their houses realized, oh my God, I don't like it here enough to be here all day, every day, forever, from now on.
Right.
And they bought and sold houses. And so the fast moving and values go up, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot more appreciation in a short amount of time than the prior 15 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it makes sense to me that people are cashing out, but where are they going? You know what I mean? We sold our house in Florida, our vacation home, because it appreciated $150,000 in 1 year. I got news for you. In my opinion, that's not the kind of thing that happens every day.
Right.
So that's why we sold that house right away.
Yeah, they're moving up or they're moving out to a different area.
And we moved out. We bought a home in Louisiana. We didn't buy another one in that market that was going crazy.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So this is something to think about in whatever industry you're in. What are the trends in your industry? We've talked a little bit about the real estate trends, but what are the trends in your industry, and how can you take advantage of those right now?
Sure. I wonder how like the beauty industry has changed with COVID, because I know a lot of people who have like gone weekly to get their nails done or go every 3 weeks to get your hair cut. I wonder how those appointments have changed since COVID, because a lot of our beautician friends were told you can't do anything for months.
Right.
So I wonder if there have been changes from the general populace
Well, I
in
can
that
tell
arena.
you in Washington State, there were a lot of ladies' hats sold in that first year. I'm not kidding. I saw so many people wearing hats, and it was because they had grow out from their hair color.
Right.
You know, and they couldn't get in with their stylist. But I don't know the answer to that question, but it would be interesting to find out.
And there were home prohibition style speakeasy haircut places popping up everywhere.
I heard of one or two, and then
Yeah.
there were stylists, you know, that weren't willing to risk their licensing. And,
Sure.
you know, so
It's a whole thing.
yeah. So how did your industry change? I'm asking our listeners, you know,
Right.
how did your industry change, and how does it continue to change, and how can you, what is the coming trend, and how can you predict that and get on board with the coming trend?
Sure.
And I would say one thing that is exciting to me is if you have a product that is inexpensive, this is the time. This is your time.
Tell me more about that.
Well, as the cost of goods and services rises, the inexpensive product sells better.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's called the Estee Lauder factor.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they discovered it, I believe, in, and I could be wrong on this, and if I am, just give me some grace, but I think it was like World War II, and Estee Lauder came out with a special red lipstick, you know, to support the troops or whatever.
Sure. Smart.
And sold the hell out of it. And that kind of started this trend of, I'll use this example, you might not be able to afford to go buy a whole new outfit,
Right.
but you can buy a new single product like a lipstick,
I gotcha.
right? And so those kind of small products, you know, our girls that have the cookie catastrophe
Right.
in Florida, in Lakeland, Florida, are killing it right now.
They are killing it. In fact, they're doing so well, they're buying a new house. They're building. Did you see that?
I know. It's very exciting.
Yeah. They are super girls, and they have a super, super business.
They really do. And when you're ready for it, I'm ready to share something that they shared with me recently.
Okay, so
Are you excited?
instead of a user question, you have something else?
Yeah, normally we have a question of the week,
Yes.
but today, instead of a question of the week, we have a testimonial.
From those girls?
From the cookie catastrophe.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Stephanie
What a
and
treat.
Crystal sent me some information. Crystal reached out to me on Facebook and was just talking about how much our podcast has and our relationship with them has influenced them.
Okay.
Which I thought was really fantastic. She said, you know, it was just a twist of fate or a serendipitous moment meeting them.
Right.
And this is another thing where you trust your gut. When you feel that connection to somebody, lean into it, because we were just wandering the market and saw their stand and went up and started talking to them. And who knew that it would, you know, turn into what it's turned into.
Sure.
Where we feel, you know, so warmly connected to them, but also they're loving the podcast and getting so much information from it. So she said, excuse me, the things that they've grabbed from the podcast, learned or gleaned, or whatever word you want to use, is good customer service should happen in every industry.
That's right.
It's always good to have a good teammate and cheerleader.
Yes.
And then she put in parentheses, hey, David, systems are good for everyone.
That's true.
And I want to do a whole show on systems because it's just, I know I've said it a lot today,
Okay.
but
The next program,
yeah.
we're going to talk about systems.
Well, tune in.
I'm telling you
people.
right now, that's going to be a great program, and everybody's going to get something from it.
They will, because it's something I am extremely passionate about.
I love it.
So, and I'll just say, if you want to do more of what you're already doing, systems. If you want to do more of something else, systems. If you want to do a whole lot more in a whole lot of different arenas, you want to wear a lot of different hats and really diversify what you're doing, systems.
And if you want to maintain your current level of production and do less work, systems.
Yep. Okay, so next, she said, incentive programs help keep customers coming back.
Absolutely.
They learned that from us.
Great.
Finding a good mentor can get you really far.
Yes.
Not everyone is your customer, but still provide good customer service on the way out. That might be my favorite thing.
I think that's great.
Love that.
Is that something you said that they learned from us?
We had a podcast where we talked about one of the points that we made was not everyone is your client or
that's
your
true.
customer.
That is absolutely
It's not
true.
always a love match.
Right.
Is how you
That's how I say it. Yep.
She said, build a good stew. Build a good team that works well together.
I love that.
And you have to take action right away. Reply back right away. Frame everything as a win, and you don't have to be chained to your desk. That was the last thing.
That's absolutely true. All of it. I agree with all of it. We're going to open a satellite branch of Envoy Mortgage in Lafayette, Louisiana, and it's a satellite of our Kennewick, Washington branch. I will have to be there more than I'm currently at an office because I'm only at the office for like a week once every 6 weeks. So I don't know that I'm looking forward to physically having to be somewhere because the work is the same whether I'm there or not. Yeah. I'm going to put a desk in there that you can come crash at and work at.
Okay.
And you know, activity breeds activity. So seeing you walking up and down the halls of the Chase Tower will definitely breed some activity.
The last thing I want to say about the cookie catastrophe.
They're awesome.
Is that while I cannot share any details, and I want to go on record as saying no details were shared with me, but I might have figured out a few things. Anyway, they just landed a massive contract.
That's awesome.
I didn't even know you could get this big of a contract for cookies. I just want you to know.
There you go.
I didn't even know it was possible.
So how many units are they selling to this
like
one
10,000.
Huh? 10,000? And those cookies aren't cheap. We sent some to the grandkids a week ago.
Well, we sent a box of the cookies, their Valentine cookies. They look like conversation hearts, but they were cookies, and we sent them to the older grandboys for Valentine's Day.
And those were not free.
Well, no.
You know what I'm saying?
No, nothing's free.
10,000 of that?
Yeah, and I can't say any more about it.
Well, I can tell you this. They have a food printer and can print corporate logos onto the cookies.
And they consulted with us about that food printer. And we were very encouraging that they should go for it.
Yes.
And it is that printer that got them this job.
And it paid off with just this job, I bet.
It paid like 10 times over.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm very excited for them. We love them. They're very special to us, and we are more excited for their growth than we are, for our own. It's just fun.
It's always fun to watch people that you care about grow in whatever they're growing at, seeing our kids grow in their lives. Awesome fun.
Yeah.
Seeing business owners that we're friends with grow their businesses.
Yeah.
Awesome fun. What a treat. And that's why we have Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants. Call Londa today at 509-491-2663 if your business needs a boost. That number again, 509-491-2663. Whether you're considering buying a food printer to grow your cookie business or considering opening a new bar or restaurant, we can help you figure it out. The number to call Londa today, 509-491-2663. That number again, 509-491-2663 for Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants. I got to tell you, hon, I am having a ton of fun being in my hometown with you.
It's really fun. I love it. I love it so much.
Everywhere I go, I feel like I run into somebody that I haven't seen in 20 years. And literally that's happening everywhere we go.
Well, everywhere we go, whether you know people or not, everyone acts like they've known you your whole life.
Well, that's true. And
Love
that's just the kind of Southern culture that exists here. And I love how it crosses all barriers.
Right.
It's not all young people. It's not all old
No.
people. It's not all white people. It's not all black people. It is a mix of everyone in the community. What a great place to be. And I'm so glad we're back.
Yeah. Although I can't wait to be in Washington in a couple of weeks.
Yep, we'll be there in a couple
I'm
of
very
weeks.
excited. I've got a speaking gig in Spokane.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
This has been The Session with Londa and David.